Great things never come from comfort zones. Shamisa Ali. Welcome to the Guyana Dialogue. I'm your host, Shamisa Ali. Our topic tonight is opportunities that housing brings, especially in context of value added and the 800 homes that the government plans to build per year in the next 5 years. The Guyana Dialogue is being sponsored by a coordinating council of Guyanese based in the US, UK, Canada, the Caribbean, and Guyana. Funding support is by well known philanthropist Dave Narayan from Dave West Indian Imports. Please welcome my moderator for tonight, Dr. Tara Singh.
Very much, and welcome to our
Please welcome our
viewers.
panelists for tonight, Dr. Vishnu Visram. And our guest tonight is no stranger to the Guyana Dialogue. He is the president of the Guyana Manufacturing Services Association, Mr. Rafeek Khan. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Dr. Tara, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Shamisa, and welcome to all our viewers. Um, Today, before I start, I want to wish the Hindu community happy Ram Navami today. Um, Today, we are very fortunate to have with us Mr. Rafeek Khan, who is a managing director of Duravilla Wood Products and Duravilla Homes. He is deeply involved in the forestry sector, in the manufacturing sector, building homes for export and for local consumption as well. A few months ago, when we visited Guyana, we had the opportunity to visit his outfit at Yarracabra off the Linen Highway. And we see the homes that he was building. I believe those homes were eventually bought by the government, but maybe he can clarify that. But I want to say, the housing project of Guyana is one of the most visionary projects that they have embarked upon. When they said in 2020 that they will build 50,000, they will allocate 50,000 house lots, a lot of critics, including opposition, doubted whether they could achieve that goal. Well, they have not only achieved that goal, that they have surpassed it. They have actually allocated 53,000 house lots. Also, when the government said in 2020 that they will create 50,000 jobs, again, the critics doubted them whether they could have done that. In fact, they have created 104,000 jobs within the last 5 years. So great credit. And I'm not saying that the housing sector is perfect, but they are moving around the right track. Um, Mr. I think before we go into um, the subject matter, I know you're going to talk about the housing and other contractors might be involved in the construction of these 8,000 homes per year. But if you can give us a general oversight of the housing sector, a general overview, how you see it moving and the prospects for the future.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. It's always good to be on the panel here and helping our viewers understand how private sector is moving along with the government's ambition in developing the economy. The um, the overall view for housing is, as you know, and housing is going to be creating and has been creating actually growing the economy and growing Guyana's GDP in an amazing way, encouraging employment in almost every sector from foundation to roof, wall to wall, even for interior finishings and so on. It's been ambitious for many companies to undertake challenges, I would say, some of them, in order to meet the demands for housing, because the growth has been increasingly um, adding to the demand There have been a lot of remigrants. There have been a lot of increase to the population. So apart from the government's housing initiative, there's also private persons looking to build on land that they have not been utilizing over the years. We have a growing number of companies in Guyana who are employing persons that are needing homes. We have a growing amount of foreign companies in Guyana that are growing. So our economy is demanding housing across the country, not just in Georgetown or the main regions of the country. So overall, housing has always been a major driver to our economy. But this next 5 years, and especially in the next year, 8,000 homes per year, can you imagine what it will do for our economy? Is not just talking about the government providing house lots infrastructure work, which was the previous 5 years. This year, you're seeing the demand for constructed homes, which is actually a very bold, a very ambitious initiative that will give companies across almost every sector of the economy opportunity for growth, for manufacturing, and for services. Don't forget that too, because services includes architecture services, professional services, which is engineering, consultancy, banking sector. There's a host of array of cross-cutting opportunities in every sector of the economy that's going to grow as a result of housing. And again, not just construction of infrastructure work, development of infrastructure work, but construction of homes. So as we go through the program, I'll tell you more about the direct impacts to the economy and jobs as we move along. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, I've noticed that last year the forestry sector, which includes part of the housing, they contributed over $20 billion to the country's GDP. That will hopefully expand, but the felling of timber is restricted through the greenhouse or the program that they have to control the amount of timber that you can cut per year. You have a good idea of that. The level of deforestation is restricted. So if you can comment on that a bit.
Yes, it's Guyana is actually among the lowest country of deforestation rate in the entire world. We are less than 1%. So we are on track as a green economy. We are very sustainable in our forestry sector. We do sustainable logging. Sustainable practices are across the entire sector from harvesting, pre-harvesting to harvesting of trees. The Currently there's a quota. Well, there's always a quota in how much you produce from the forest and what the government allocates. And overall, the country is only utilizing 1/3 of its allowable cut. So we're not utilizing enough of our allowable cut of forest in the country, which brings opportunity for investment in the forestry sector. And we are using a variety of species in Guyana. There's over 1,000 species in our forest. There's at least a dozen of those species that are being utilized, not just greenheart, purple heart, and wallaby, the species that people know commonly. So overall, it is a very healthy country in terms of biodiversity, in terms of forestry, in terms of sustainability. And building a timber home or building with timber, and because regardless of what type of structure you put up, concrete, steel, timber, every home requires some element of wood inside of it. And I don't want to just advocate only for timber homes, but in Guyana's building and construction sectors, you're finding more variety of engineered building systems that are being introduced in our economy. Now that consumers are becoming more educated in terms of choices and availability of alternative building materials, and engineered building systems and how to reduce the speed of construction, increase the speed of construction and reducing labor, it is important that we keep looking for alternative options in construction. And this is where modular housing comes in. This is where timber structures, prefabricated timber structures, like our company is doing in Guyana. So you're going to see a lot more opportunities and variety for consumers to select from when they're constructing their homes. Traditionally, concrete has been the solution, the main solution, and timber. We want to see more innovative solutions through businesses, and that's what you're expected to see in coming years and even in coming months. I should actually indicate June 25th is going to be the Building Expo, International Building Expo in Guyana, and companies will have an opportunity across all sectors to present their concepts, to present their building types, and so on.
Mhm. Yeah, so I'm glad that your the level of deforestation is in compliance with the low carbon development strategy. Now, I'm going to pass you over to Vish for any questions or clarification you have for Mr. Khan.
Right. Thanks, Doc, and welcome again, Rafi. Um, so I think it would be useful for the public or the listeners to know a little more about your company. I mean, what do you all do besides forestry or timber, lumbering, and building? So that we'll have a better picture of your contribution to the housing sector and the economy.
Absolutely. And first of all, I would like to say I wear several hats. One of my primary hats on being on this panel here as the president of the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association,
I think you were recently elected or re-elected.
re-elected last year. But it's a very vibrant manufacturing sector of our economy. It's our main business support organization. And through the Guyana Manufacturing and Service Association, we have a construction and engineering subsector. We have an extractive sector, which brings in all natural resources that plays a critical role to the construction sector. So that being said, I just wanted at least the viewers know that we have a vibrant business support organization that it is nonprofit and has of at least 350 companies under the GMSA that represents our economy. But tonight we're speaking about construction, and to answer your question directly, Duravilla Homes is one of our two companies. We also have Durable Wood Products. So we are part of the manufacturing in utilizing locally produced material. We're perhaps one of the only company who uses timber to build homes from start to finish. We're involved with logging, sawmilling, manufacturing. In with the entire value chain, we actually produce the home in factory and in modular panels, and then we construct it on the job site. We also do the construction of our homes. Recently, in the last year, we became not just a manufacturer of homes, but an installer of our homes. So this is a rapidly growing economy where
Are we
companies such as ourselves
are we
is
talking
increasing.
yours or a combination of wooden and other materials?
We use a combination of it's a hybrid. So majority of the superstructure is timber, and then we use concrete boards and concrete panels to do our walls, and along with tropical hardwoods we use for our walls. It's a combination and giving you that modern aesthetics. And then the superstructure, as I mentioned, is entirely timber in terms of the framing, and then in terms of the paneling, it combines both concrete and timber.
If I may ask, in terms of cost, is one cheaper than the other, or they're about comparable?
Uh, it's comparable. Both materials are engineered to be able to make a modular structure. So because of that process, I mean, I don't want to say it's cheap because it is a long-lasting structure. It is a very niche type of product that we do that I see that contributes to a very low carbon footprint in our economy and creating local jobs and local manufacturing. So what we're doing is very, very important to our sector, and I see this product as being essential, even though many persons may choose a concrete structure. I think, well, I know for sure timber contributes greatly to a cleaner and a more friendly environment.
In terms of temperature within the home, I mean, is wood better than concrete? If you know the answer.
Absolutely. Wood is a natural conductor of heat, and it does not allow that heat to be transferred easily within the room. If you walk bare feet on a concrete deck or a concrete road, your feet will burn you. You can walk bare feet on a wood deck without a problem, right? On the hottest day, you wouldn't have an issue. That alone tells you that heat will not transfer into the structure. And when you're building a small house, the smallest house for the affordable housing in Guyana is 600 square feet. Can you imagine what will happen with the transfer of heat into that home? So we want to encourage more types of building solution that encourages wood, the utilization of wood within the housing arena.
Hmm. Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Khan, what type of wood do you normally use?
So, among all the species, we have studied and tested, along with the Guyana Forestry Commission, has tested many species. We have identified at least 21 species that are commercially viable for building and construction. But for our homes, we have identified at least 10 species that is actively easily to acquire in a commercial level. We use wood like burrata, durina, kabakali, mora, shibadan, simarupa, silverbally, Tatabu, Tornero, Wallaba, and of course Greenheart and Purple Heart. But we don't want to be utilizing the main species only, because what happens in terms of sustaining our forest, we want to have a diversity of species. So it's commonly known as the lesser used species or lesser known species. And there's a lot of credits to biodiversity and sustainability when we are utilizing a variety and a multiple species that goes into our homes.
And what about their durability?
Or these species that I mentioned will outlast us. You know, you're talking about timber species that has proven the test of times. These are not new species of wood. This has been around for over 100 years, used in building and construction. So well tested, well proven, and will outlast most of us. So most of our homes in excess of 50 years, you can easily sustain the elements.
Okay. Now when we visited your establishment, there were a number of homes. I think there were 25. Can you say what you did with those homes? Their houses.
Yes,
Um,
the project that you would have visited is in Yaracabra. It's an initiative by the president of Guyana to have single mothers giving opportunities to to get their own home through a project utilizing shade house, utilizing farming, agriculture. So those homes, that was a contract, and it is a contract under the government of Guyana. We are only the contractor who has designed the homes and constructing the homes. So we have turned over so far at least 50 homes. We're continuing to build each year, but what you would have seen, I believe, was the first 25. So we're doing them in increments of 25, and then the government is releasing them or selling them to single mothers who are qualified for
mm,
such a project. This is located at a place called Heidi Park in Yaracabra, an excellent initiative. That initiative will allow a homeowner to have supplemental income through agriculture.
mhm.
And that supplemental income will definitely contribute towards paying their mortgages. So while the government of Guyana has been subsidizing the homes in terms of infrastructure work and land in Guyana, the buyers still have to pay for the house and their land, but the rate is being subsidized through lower interest rate in the banks, um, and of course an attractive price for the homes. And
Mm.
it makes it even better that there's jobs, employment through the shade house project that they're going to be doing in their backyard. And again, that is just extra income. An average mortgage in Guyana for these homes should not exceed about 40,000 Guyana dollars in the country. So it's really, really affordable and an excellent initiative
Mm.
by the government of Guyana.
What about the cost factor per square foot to produce, from your point of view, to produce these houses?
Yeah, the average cost to produce homes in Guyana, our homes or any affordable housing, can range from 10,000 to $12,000 a square foot. It all depends on the type of home. But our homes is not a cheap house to produce because timber is getting more expensive. Timber is a highly valuable commodity. It is high in demand internationally. So our homes, it do cost us quite a bit to produce in terms of square footage. And this is why we're complementing our homes with other types of engineered building materials. It's just not 100% just timber. But what we're doing is having complementary elements such as concrete boards. So, but the timber structure is about 70% produced locally in the country that comprises of the house. With cost of production, again, it varies, but it will vary, let's say, between 10,000 to $12,000 a square foot to build a home, Guyana dollars, which is, if you equate that to the US, between $40 to $50 a square foot is the cost, US.
And what would be the total cost of the home? Is that about 30 million?
Well, when you say cost of our company or what we're selling, but we're selling these homes wholesale to the government of Guyana, starting for about $35,000 per unit, right? And then, well, let's say $31,000 we're selling these homes for. The homeowner gets these homes with land for about 35,000 US dollars. So they're getting a significant benefit and value. And when they go to the bank, that house sometimes is value equity wise as much as double what they're paying for that house because of the value of their land as well. So there's a lot of benefits to anyone owning a home and being qualified and being part of the housing initiative in Guyana.
So, where are these homes located? After
It's
government take them over, where, what part of the country?
it's in Yarracabra, and the government is building and having projects across the country. But the particular project that we have been working on at in Yarracabra is called Heidi Park. That's the
Mm,
location, and
mm,
we're constructing about 200 homes at that location.
And,
mm.
Dr. Singh, if I understand correctly, these are immovable houses. They're built and stayed there. They're not moved. They're not being taken.
Mm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, these are permanent dwelling, permanent structure with foundation.
So I'm kind of curious because many houses now in the U.S. are constructed or prefabricated and then they are put together at the location where you want it. Does your company also do that? And can that be done through
Uh,
with timber?
yeah, there's a big difference in mobile homes or prefab homes that is driven to the location, and we want to caution persons with regards to doing that because you remember when the house is not connected to the foundation, even though Guyana don't have hurricanes, you want to make sure you have a sustainable home that is connected to the foundation. So we're building traditionally, but our panels that we produce are in factory. We produce about 3 homes per day in factory, and those homes are constructed on the job site. Within 30 days, we can complete the entire structure. As a matter of fact, within 1 week, we can envelope an entire house, but finishes it within depending on the time period, we can finish an entire house within 2 to 4 weeks. So it's not a movable home. It's not a prefabricated structure that you're driving to location. It is a well-built home from foundation all the way to the roof. It's bolted to the ground, and your roof is bolted to the frame of the structure. Many persons sometimes get confused about portable homes like a containerized home and so on. Those are homes that wouldn't give you the warranty that you're seeking for, or the durability, the longevity of those homes. So we want to strongly encourage persons. So when they say modular, just make sure it is something that will last for generations and generations, and that will be insured by the insurance companies, and also bankable on getting mortgages for them.
Are you connected with Silica City?
We are not doing any project there yet, but that is definitely an ambitious project, initiative by the government of Guyana to build out over the next 20 years. You're going to see Silica City having every year a vast amount of increasing homes. So you have from moderate income to young professional housing there. So there's a wide variety. That's an entire community building out housing. Even retirement community is going to be there for the future. But we want to be part of that. But right now, we want to just be able to manage what we're doing in our current location.
So you focus on government construction of housing. You don't engage in any private, like for example, if I want to build a house, or John wants to build a house, you don't do those.
Yes, absolutely. We will entertain individual consumers who are looking to build homes, but we don't want to shift too much in adjusting this type of homes. We have three models available, and in order to bring down the cost, the economies of scale, we want to produce only these models that we have engineered, designed. When we start customizing the home, our cost goes up, the speed of construction. So our objective is to simplify the process and produce what a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom model in a certain design that is very likable. Persons can visit our website and learn more. But the idea here is to keep it manageable in terms of speed of construction and options for the consumer.
Oh, so there is a website where the people could look at a 3D model or something like that?
Yes, it's duravilla.com, Duravilla.com. We have model homes in the country. We do homes in Barbados, St. Vincent. We've shipped our homes to. So the government of Barbados has an initiative where they've purchased a home, just like the government of Guyana. So we're not just doing this locally in the country; we're doing this internationally.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, Shamisa, I think we can take a break now.
Yes, Dr. Tara. We'll be right back.
Mhm. Okay, let's go to discuss the 40,000 houses that the government plan to build during this 5-year term. I believe that the government issue expressions of interest or bids. Can you enlighten us on that?
Yes, the this expression of interest was late last year, and from what I've learned through the media, is that at least 250 companies would have applied for homes. Sorry, applied for contracts to provide housing to the government. The those companies will be shortlisted, I would imagine, in coming weeks. We have not had any further updates as yet, but I'm sure the government is planning an execution plan whereby contractors will be allocated X amount of homes to build across the country based on their qualifications and their capabilities and their capacity.
These these homes are of different levels, like low income, middle income, upper income.
Yes, it's a wide spectrum in terms of size, in terms of demographics, and so on. The smallest home, to my knowledge, is about 600 square feet. There is a core house project funded by the IDB, and the government has been doing
Yeah,
it just for like a starter home.
yeah.
I think all of this will make up that, and that's the smallest will be 400 square feet. But the bulk of the homes that are being built in Guyana are between 600 to 1,000 square feet in terms of low income, mid income, moderate income, and then you have young professionals, and then you have high income. Those are the four levels of consumer type, depending upon their income stream and their qualifications. The cost of these homes ranges from 7 million Guyana dollars to approximately 24 million Guyana dollars. And these homes, like I mentioned, is building across every region of the country. And depending on the region, you will find the more appropriate building materials. But the biggest region is Region 4, and that region is building out, I would think, a majority of the homes, and Region 3, of course, as well. But you have construction that has started over the last several years and continuing, but the rapid improvement is going to be happening as infrastructure work continues to grow across the country. You're even seeing construction happening as far as Letem, Region 9, their housing demand happening.
Wish you have a follow up.
I know I was just browsing through Duravilla.com, and I see some really, as you mentioned, the three modular. They're really quite impressive on the outside. I haven't been able to browse through inside, but
Mhm.
in one side it was really look marvelous. These wooden houses, they really come out really nice. In
Thank
fact,
you.
it's
Mm.
encouraging me to go wood instead of concrete. But again, we don't want to use up too much of our forests. As you said, sustainability is one of the goals of the LCTS.
Mm. The
No, go ahead.
the expressions of interest, did that carry the specifications for these houses?
Yes, the government would have posted the type of homes that they're looking for, and the number of bedrooms, the number of square feet these homes should have, and then companies who are suited to do certain type of homes. Some companies maybe just doing one story or two stories, but it's a wide variety, and the government is actually encouraging more modular homes type of construction that we've been doing, because we've proven this as one of the first companies in Guyana doing this in the right way. So they've seen that through building modular homes rather than just block traditionally, the speed of construction could be increased. The One of the things I must say is partnerships. The In order to achieve this amount of homes every year, we don't have the capacity just local within our local companies. We need participation to help build capacity from foreign countries. So The government of Guyana has been encouraging consortiums, partnerships. You're going to be hearing more and more about companies across the globe with building systems that will be partnering with companies in Guyana, including our company. But the idea is to be able to build more capacity and bring more engineered building system to our country that consumers can really appreciate and enjoy. Some of them have never. Some of these homes, you see it in Europe, you see them in the Middle East. You're going to be seeing them in Guyana. You've been seeing them in Asia and so on. So apart from our wood, and wood is going to be complementing all of these homes, right? So there's an element of wood that's going to be used in every single one of these homes, which we can talk a little bit about the GDP and how it will help the economy in terms of locally manufactured building products. But to answer your specific question here, most definitely you're going to be seeing a variety of homes in our country, and a variety and several companies, dozens of companies will be getting the opportunities. So the expression of interest attracted many companies, not just locally but internationally.
Do we have the labor to meet demand?
I would say no. This is why we have to automate. We have to bring in systems that will increase productivity in our country, and this is why there's a major push for modular homes built in factory that you can meet the demand. And because of that, we need technology that will improve and increase productivity in the country, and of course, bring down the cost of construction on the job site. The engineered building system and producing a home in factory is not just good for speed, it's good for economy. It helps to give a better, higher quality home because you're being more precise in your manufacturing when you're producing it within the confines of a factory. That way, when you go to the job site, you're just focusing on the installation. And not just Guyana, across the Caribbean, there's a growing demand for homes. So within our region, we're seeing this demand increasing, and Guyana is getting part of the market share for not just domestic, but internationally and regionally.
So the houses that the government has issued expressions of interest, would those be hybrid then? Hybrid.
No, it doesn't. They didn't stipulate to say that it must only be hybrid. They just want to encourage builders, manufacturers to get creative to find building solutions,
Mm.
and they are. I've seen a lot of companies coming to Guyana, but I've seen over the last month alone at least five different building solutions out there. Very plausible building solutions. So you're going to be seeing and learning a lot, and again, brings opportunities for more diversity, more income, more jobs, more, more options for the consumer once these homes are built properly and within the scope of sustainability, and making sure that they're resilient is important. Making sure that the homes are energy efficient. These are very important things in terms of building our homes.
Let me just ask you a question about when you build these homes, how much a warranty do you give to the owners or the buyers of these?
So there's a limited warranty that comes with our homes, and the first year it's for infrastructure, foundation, the structural envelope of the house is 1 year. But these homes, the warranty that a homeowner can get their private insurance or private warranty, but our homes are guaranteed to last for decades. I would say our homes will last for over a century if you do your standard maintenance, making sure trees and bush doesn't overgrow it. But we should not be having any issues with our homes not standing up, and resisting the elements out there. We even build homes to resist hurricanes, natural disasters within the region. So well built, strong, and long lasting.
These buildings are built in accordance with the national code of the country, building code, or how are you guided in the construction of these homes?
Absolutely. Guyana has a building code that we follow, and the government of Guyana verifies that from, as a matter of fact, from the foundation, the PSI strength of your foundation, even the block walls. While there's a lot of construction going on, I cannot say it's perfect. However, there is a building system, and contractors are encouraged to follow those building systems. But more importantly, I would like to encourage homeowners, consumers, to study and understand for yourself what is the building code, so you can take it upon yourself to verify and not just rely on the government of Guyana to make sure that your homes are built strong. Your local NDC is supposed to be reviewing the building plans to ensure that it's built to code. The quality of steel, the quality of your concrete, the quality of the timber, even though it's timber, there's all types of grade of wood out there. So is the wood dried properly, seasoned properly? Are we picking the right species? Are we using wood that doesn't have sap on it that will attract termites? So there's a lot of information out there to understand the quality of homes, that the quality of materials that is necessary to build a quality home, and the techniques that the builders are using. So we really want to encourage consumers, whether you're buying our home or any home in Guyana, study for yourself what are the building codes. For example, roofing. I've seen the quality of roofing. Sometimes people might use a gauge of roofing that is not suitable for your roof, and then it doesn't last more than 10 years, right? So the the zinc that you use for your fence is not the zinc that you're going to use for your roof. Just giving you some basic examples here, right? The wood that you will use for furniture is not the wood that you're going to use for your external wall cladding, or your structural engineered timber like Greenheart, Mora, and so on. So some species of timber is suitable for certain applications within the building in terms of your structural strength of that superstructure for the building.
I
Mhm.
do
Um,
that the
the,
government
okay,
does
Bish, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
the government does have designs and specifications, and I'm aware because I had gone and visit some of these projects. The government does send engineers to check into, as you mentioned, the PCI, PSI of the concrete, and if it is not of the quality, it has to be redone. They have to break it up and redo it. And the same thing with regards to the wood. If
Mhm.
the wood, you begin to see the wood, as you mentioned, the sap and termites come in and so on. If the wood is not of good quality and it's not properly dried, the whole project has to be redone again. And same
Mhm.
with the roofing and so forth. So in that sense, I think the government has been doing a good job in that sense, of making sure
Mhm.
that quality uh, required by the specifications that the government provides an architectural design. You have to follow that design in the construction of the homes.
Y-
Now,
Yes.
I'm sure that's the same with Duraville as well.
Yeah, I would like to add, it's not just the building, the Central Housing and Planning Authority that is in charge of this. While the standards are there, the Guyana has what you call the bureaus of standards, right? And that falls under the Ministry of Business. And there's a department that has a quality assurance compliance, so local companies can participate in the Made in Guyana brand and their certification, whether it's ISO certification, whether it's a compliance, a testing and approving your blocks. There are companies who are making concrete blocks that has a stamp of approval that has been checked and verified by a third party, the Bureau's standards under Ministry of Business. So it is important that consumers know this, because if you buy the building material that is already going through the checklist, that is a quality building material, um, with a stamp of approval, much of your work has been done already, right? In terms of what the contractor is using for the homes. Granted, not all companies are already has that stamp of approval, but it's important that manufacturers get that stamp of approval to assure the consumers here's a grading standard. You go into any Home Depot in the US, you will see a stamp, you will see a certification. You can go and check it and verify it. So these are the things that we're encouraging, and the government of Guyana has made the opportunity available for manufacturers to be able to become compliant, so the consumer gain more confidence in their building materials.
You may now test sample test these materials.
Yes, yes. There's an agency that actually goes through the entire operation of every country, every company that applies for the certification. The ministry will have the certification issued once you pass that test and that examination and that checking is not just one off one time. They come and they inspect you randomly sometimes, or you have a quarterly inspection, an annual inspection by the bureaus of standards to make sure that you are complying to the standards set out, not just by your company but in compliance to the government of Guyana. As a matter of fact, this compliance is not only for building materials, it's for food and beverage, agriculture products, anything that we produce in Guyana. There's a standard, but there's also a verifying way of making sure that you are adhering to those standards. But companies who have those checklists, right, who has that mark, that made in Guyana mark, consumers should have greater confidence in buying those products, because those companies would have gone the extra mile, spend the money to make sure that they have a compliant product.
So, Mr. Khan, I don't have the 7 million, or I don't have the 20 million, or I don't have the 30 million, but I want a home. How can I go about getting it?
Okay, so if you don't, there's avenues. For example, the government of Guyana gives, you can allocate and apply for just a land loan. So let's say you don't have money to build your home, you just apply for a house lot. Okay, and as you get your money, and very typical for Guyanese, they will build as they get cash. You can see probably 50% of the homes are under construction for the next 5 years, right? Because they do their foundation, then they do their walls, and they do their roof. So there's an opportunity for everyone, regardless of your budget. It's even amazing to see there's subsidy by the government of Guyana, where if you're building your own home, you can actually apply for cement, sorry. You can apply for steel to do your foundation work. So these are subsidies or vouchers that the government allocates to anyone wishing to build your own home. It can even be the land that you own, you could be qualified for. There's no excuses to me for affordable housing in Guyana comparing to anywhere in the world.
Mhm.
And let me just say this: what the bank is offering in terms of interest rate, the interest rate even in the United States is high. The interest rate for housing in Guyana is from 3.5 to 6%. The threshold is actually just raised. So if you're building a house in Guyana that is up to 24 million, let's say 110,000 US dollars or so, you're qualified for that rate deduction at the bank for preferred interest rate. I believe it's as low as 6% for that mortgage, right? For a home that you're doing, affordable homes, let's say it's between 30 to 50,000 US dollars, you're actually going to be paying no more than 4 or 4.5% interest rate. So when you work out the monthly payment for a house, you can literally pay less than $400 for your mortgage, less than $200-300, depending on the type of home, with the benefits that the government has already put in place through the banks for them to offer an affordable mortgage, apart from the subsidies that they're getting for their foundation work, and then of course the subsidized costs for the land.
Okay, let me just go quickly here because we are coming to the nearing the closing time. Plywood is being produced in Guyana now, but can Guyana produce enough plywood to meet existing demands?
Plywood has been produced in Guyana by a company called Barama over the last, I would say, 5 decades at least, or 4 decades, 5 decades. But anyway, we are producing sufficient enough plywood in the country to meet the demand for certain types of construction. The types of construction that is happening are infrastructure work that requires plywood that will be used for formworks, frameworks, and so on. But for the type of application that we have when it comes to value added application, at the moment, we have sufficient plywood that will meet the demands for, let's say, internal construction for residential housing. But if you were to say, do we meet the demand for commercial projects across the country in all residential homes? No, they are imported plywood that is coming into the country to help meet the demand for the consumer to have
Oh,
choices.
okay, what about the role of bamboo in home construction? My home now, the floor is bamboo.
Yeah,
The
but
floor.
bamboo flooring comes into the country, but persons got to be careful because we find that flooring has infestation, right? So any type of wood using bamboo, if it is not cured properly, prepared properly, you will have concerns of termites because it's being produced in China and comes into Guyana and is coming into an environment that is not suitable many times for the application. So I will caution folks. So if you're going to use an engineered type of wood, just make sure that it is produced according to standards and code.
Okay. Um, the question about furniture, we didn't touch upon that. What incentives the government is offering to local furniture manufacturers? Because most of the houses that are being built, people use imported furniture. And
Yes.
now there's a movement to encourage local production. What incentives there are to
Okay.
local producers?
Yeah, Dr. Tar, I'm glad you asked that question. The Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association advocated strongly that furniture made in Guyana is VAT free, no VAT on those furniture. So that incentive alone makes locally made furniture affordable to every homeowner in Guyana. There's a vast amount of imports that is coming into the country, and now we will have companies that will be able to be competitive by producing locally made furniture. I also want to say that the in the past wood was always VAT free. But when it comes to furniture or let's say doors, now furniture is not just beds, tables, and chairs. I look at furniture as your cabinets, right? Your finishings of your home, the trims of the home that you're buying wood to do. So companies have the opportunity to now take use of these incentives by the government of Guyana to help reduce your cost of production by being able to get the tax incentives in place to have duty-free equipment that you're not paying taxes on for your imports into your and your inputs into manufacturing, but also when you're selling your products, you don't have to charge the VAT. So now there is a vast amount of opportunities for furniture makers who are seeking to get involved with making furniture for their homes. And think of 8,000 homes per year. That is 8,000 kitchens. Think of four, 5 bedrooms in a house, two, three, four, 5 bedrooms in a house. Each bedroom needs a bed, needs a cabinet, needs a vanity. Every house needs basic essentials like chairs and tables. All of this is furniture, right? So we want to encourage the local carpenters, the local artisans, all those who are making furniture to be confident that there's an opportunity out there for you to expand your business or even start a new business in making furniture.
I believe the government has committed to compiling a registry of furniture manufacturers in this year. I hope that comes to fruition. Um, well, we've come to a time where this interesting conversation has to end, but I'll pass you over to Shamiza. I don't know if she has any questions for you.
No, thank you, Dr. Tara. I see one question, but I'm not sure, Mr. Khan, if you can answer that question or if it's relevant to you. Ria is asking how long is the process to apply for land?
The From what I've learned and seen, it's now all online and very automated. So the process has become very, very simple. And I encourage folks to go to the Central Housing and Planning website in Guyana, make your application. Immediately you will get an email that will give you a confirmation and give you a unique number. And that number is what you use to follow up. So the process is very simple, extremely simple.
Okay, thank you. Now, you did mention that we have the young professionals for women that you're building those houses for. What are the requirements for women, and where can a woman apply for such a program for the housing?
Yeah, you can apply through the Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHMPA, and indicate that you like this project, and maybe the government will open this project in other areas of the country. But right now, it's limited to only an area in Yarra called Heidi Park. But any persons interested, say you would like to be part of an initiative doing agriculture or shade house project for such a initiative.
Okay, thank you. Um, so Guyana has maintained one of the lowest deforestation rates in globally, right? We have, I think, about 88% as of 2020. How are you and other companies like yours are maintaining this, and is there any, um, you know, major effects of it on your company?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, just for clarification, 87% of our entire country is forested, right?
Right.
The deforestation rate is less than 0.1%, less than a percent, far less than a percent, right? So, as a company, and not just our company, every single timber company in Guyana has to abide by the code of practice by the Guyana Forestry Commission. So you're not allowed to cut certain trees within a certain area. You're not allowed to cut trees that are close in proximity to each other. You're not allowed to cut certain species. You're not allowed to cut certain diameter that are small. So it is highly, highly regulated, and the penalty is very high if you breach these code of practices. So there's a lot of pre-harvesting plan that goes into it, and the short answer is we are working under that code of practice as a company, and not just our company, all companies in the forestry sector.
And each, just to add to it, each log is numbered.
Yes, every single tree that is cut in the forest, you can trace it back from your house all the way to the stump in the forest by that unique code that the government always stores and have there.
That is good to know. Thank you so much, Mr. Khan. I will now ask you for your closing remarks.
I always thank you for this opportunity to talk about manufacturing because manufacturing will continually grow our sector, manufacturing and services. So, as the president of Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association, I want to thank companies for continuing to believe in Guyana, believe in our manufacturers, and continue to support our local businesses that are providing such services to our economy and embrace it. Think twice when you're going to buy your product. Ask yourself, was it locally made? Was it locally produced? And be patriotic to our country, especially if you're a local Guyanese and buying our local products. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. And to our panel, Dr. Vishnu Bisram, thank you for taking the time to be here this evening. Dr. Tara Singh, thank you so much
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
take the time
Uh,
to be here. And to our guest, Mr. Khan, thank you. To our
yeah.
viewers, thank you so much for being
Um,
here, for sharing the live
be,
tonight.
be, Sorry, Shamil, before you go, Mr. Khan, one of the major obstacles to development in the manufacturing sector is the cost of energy. Do you feel that with the government now forecasting that by year end, energy costs will drop by 50%? Are you optimistic about that?
Well,
For you?
as you know, now it's even more terrible because of the war that's going on, right? Fuel prices going up across the globe, and it's impacting us right there locally in Guyana. So it is more important for renewable energy, not just in gas to shore, but taking waste and converting it to energy for hydro projects and so on. So with all the various types of renewable energy in our economy, you will be seeing a reduction in terms of energy costs, which encourages more manufacturing. I'm not too sure if it will happen by the end of this year, but I know for sure, based on the things that I'm seeing in terms of the infrastructure work, that by next year, for sure, you should be realizing that benefit of lower energy costs for as much as 50% in reduction.
All right, thank you very much. Thank
Right.
you, Shamiza.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. And until next time, I am your host, Shamiza Ali, and this is the Guyana Dialogue. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.